Manhunt is over for a former Marine charged with murdering his girlfriend here in San Diego.
KOSI broke this story last night. Raymond R.J. McLeod, taken into custody by U.S. Marshals in El Salvador. He's accused of killing 30-year-old Krystal Mitchell.
Imagine you're on vacation, enjoying what should be the best time of your life. But then, the night takes a terrifying turn. You're being followed, you're scared, and all you can do is try to escape. That's exactly what Krystal Mitchell was facing the night she vanished in San Diego. The last footage of her shows a woman in pure panic, trying to hide from someone or something she feared. And just hours later, she's found dead. But the real mystery is here. Her boyfriend, Raymond McLeod, vanishes without a trace. What happened that night, and why did it all go so wrong? Watch this video until the end to find out the chilling details of Krystal's final moments. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Mitchell was only 30 years old and had 2 young children. An arrest warrant was issued for her boyfriend, a former Marine named Raymond McLeod.
Krystal Mitchell was a 30-year-old woman with a bright future ahead of her. She had recently found a new love, Raymond McLeod, and decided to take a trip to San Diego for a vacation. But what should have been a relaxing getaway quickly spiraled into terror. On the night she disappeared, CCTV footage captured her in a desperate state, sliding down a wall, hands covering her eyes, clearly trying to hide from something or someone. The fear in her eyes was unmistakable. She stood up and glanced over her shoulder as if thinking she might have outrun whatever threat was following her. But what she didn't know was that she hadn't escaped. Just hours later, Krystal would be found dead.
She said she went in the room. She just felt like he was dangerous.
And her boyfriend, Raymond McLeod, would disappear into thin air. This was just the beginning of a mystery that would haunt everyone involved. The CCTV footage from the night of Krystal Mitchell's death tells a haunting story. In the video, you can see Krystal clearly trying to escape from someone or something. She's sliding down a wall, her hands over her eyes, as if she's hiding from whatever is chasing her. You can feel her fear. After a few seconds, she stands up, looks behind her nervously, and walks toward the parking lot elevator. For a moment, it looks like she's safe, but she isn't. Just minutes after this footage was recorded, Krystal's lifeless body was found. She had been murdered. Krystal had been on vacation in San Diego with her new boyfriend, Raymond McLeod. He was a big guy, tall, muscular, a former Marine. But McLeod had a dark history. He had been convicted of domestic violence, having abused his first wife. There were also charges against him for trying to strangle his third wife.
A previous relationship she had, and the guy would not give up, and I'd get a call from her in the middle of the night. He was in her patio banging on her door, even though she lived in a gated community. He was sneaking in there, and she was terrified of him. And here comes McLeod saying, protect yourself, here's a gun.
Police soon learned that he had a history of violence, and he quickly became the prime suspect in Krystal's death. But before they could catch him, McLeod vanished. The case quickly became more mysterious. Krystal hadn't just been killed.
It was determined that her cause of death was strangulation. So vicious that the strangulation resulted in fractures to her neck.
She had been strangled so violently that her neck had been fractured. No one had seen anything, and no one knew where McLeod had gone. The investigation seemed to stall, and the pressure started to build. But Josephine Wenzel, Krystal's mother, wasn't about to let her daughter's killer slip away. Josephine was a former detective, and she wasn't going to sit idly by. She knew McLeod was dangerous, and she was determined to find him.
Justice for Krystal. You'll hear from the deputy marshal searching for McLeod and why Marines could play a key role.
McLeod's past was full of violent behavior toward women, including one victim, a Mayan woman who had been beaten regularly. Neighbors reported hearing her screams. Josephine wasn't just fighting for her daughter anymore. She was fighting to protect other women from McLeod's rage. "I'm worried about the women out there," Josephine said, while her voice filled with both fear and resolve. Her pain was overwhelming, but she couldn't stop. Krystal had 2 young children who would never see their mother again, and Josephine felt the weight of that loss every single day. When Krystal's phone calls suddenly stopped, Josephine knew something was horribly wrong. Then the call came. Krystal had been found dead in a condo in San Diego. Her car was abandoned at the airport. With the police investigation moving slowly, Josephine took matters into her own hands. She spent days and nights searching the internet for any clue that would lead her to McLeod. She used geofencing, tracking McLeod's possible locations using his digital footprint.
I just spent day and night combing through the internet, combing through pages, reaching out to people. Have you seen this man? Have you seen this man?
Then, she found a post about a man living in Guatemala who looked like McLeod. Josephine didn't stop there. After months of searching, she discovered a TikTok video showing a man dancing in a nightclub. Josephine spent hours analyzing the video, and with painstaking attention to detail, she identified him. It was McLeod. But even after finding him, McLeod was still on the run. His case made it to America's Most Wanted in 2019.
He's conniving. He's charming. This is how he got my daughter. Please don't trust him. He's dangerous. He's very violent. And if you are hiding him, if you are protecting him, my daughter's blood is in your hands as well.
And Josephine gave interviews, hoping to keep the pressure on. But her motivation wasn't revenge. "Catching him won't bring my daughter back," Josephine said, her voice full of grief. "But it will mean that no other woman has to suffer the way she did." Years passed, but Josephine never stopped searching. She was determined. Then, in August 2022, a tip came in that McLeod was living in El Salvador, teaching English. Josephine contacted the U.S. Marshals, who worked with local authorities to track him down. It didn't take long before McLeod was arrested without a fight. Josephine was notified of his capture, and a wave of relief washed over her. But the fight wasn't over. McLeod's defense team did everything they could to delay the trial. They even tried to claim that Krystal's death was an accident during a sexual encounter. But the evidence was clear. Security footage showed McLeod strangling Krystal, and witnesses came forward, recounting his history of abuse toward other women.
This case, this is helping us out tremendously. And we've been receiving tips from the time that she has posted things in social media. We have received thousands of tips, Ginger. And we were looking into each and every tip. We'll contact the person that gives us, that calls us up. We won't let any tip be ignored into this. Why? Because we know how hard she's been putting into the time and effort into this. And ultimately, we want to apprehend this.
Josephine's pain didn't stop her. She had been through so much, but she kept going because she knew what was at stake. As the trial date neared, Josephine wondered if she could testify. Could she really face McLeod in court? The emotional toll was immense, but she knew she had to follow through. In October 2024, Josephine shared her journey on a podcast, revealing how her pain had been turned into the strength to keep fighting. Now, with the trial set for January 2025, Josephine was more determined than ever. The fight for justice wasn't just for Krystal. It was for all the women McLeod had harmed over the years. Josephine's unshakable resolve, combined with the work of law enforcement, showed that even in the darkest moments, hope and determination can lead to justice. It was finally within reach, and Josephine was ready for whatever came next. As the trial looms ever closer, Josephine's heart is heavy, but her resolve is stronger than ever. The years of searching, the heartache, and the endless sleepless nights have all led to this moment. Justice for Krystal isn't just a dream anymore. Josephine's fight, driven by love and the need to protect others, has turned the darkest of times into a beacon of hope. No matter how long it took, she never gave up. And now, McLeod's reign of terror is finally coming to an end. If you want to stay updated on this powerful story, don't forget to comment below and subscribe to our channel. Your voice matters in the fight for justice.